Now I want to talk in a couple of videos here about SQL Server high availability. There's a fabled service level out there. I say fabled because very few people actually hit it. It's called service to the 5 nines. It means 99.999% uptime. That comes out to about 5 minutes downtime a year. Obviously, to reach that kind of service is quite expensive. It used to be in SQL Server that the only choices you had for high availability were very expensive, and that's not so anymore. Let's look at the 3 or 4 main ways that people achieve high availability. The first one is clustering, and it is by far the most expensive. With clustering, you have more than one server, you have clustering software running, you have 2 SQL servers. There's a fair amount of setup time and maintenance and babysitting that goes on with clustering. We'll talk about it in a separate video. Database mirroring, this is something that Microsoft has added as a new feature in SQL Server 2005. It's somewhat of a poor man's cluster. It's a little easier to set up. It does basically what a cluster does with a little less hassle. I'll talk about that in another video. Standby servers have been around for a while. These things are pretty cool. This is really a poor man's cluster. This is kind of like a cold standby. It's a server that's very similar, almost exactly in sync with the current production server that you can bring online pretty quickly. And then a close cousin to that, it's actually used in standby servers, is log shipping. We're actually ship or transport our logs around to other locations in the network and have a database ready to go. High availability is something that you'll have to determine what's worth for your time and trouble and expense to achieve. Some companies can live with, say, a day, maybe a half a day downtime on the database, where they'd rather not, but they can't afford the thousands of dollars that it would take to get them into a higher availability arena. So you need to sit down and do a study and determine the expense it would take to get you into a higher availability category and the amount of administrative effort it would take to get you there and to maintain it. And you'll have to work all those out. As you look at these in the next 2 or 3 videos, hopefully it'll help you decide. I would also strongly recommend that you go to Microsoft's website and look at some of the white papers that you can find out there about high availability. And they take you step by step through the process, for example, of setting up a cluster, setting up database mirroring, standby servers, and so forth. They have some fabulous printed material for you out there. So I would recommend that you go take a look at some of those white papers and start to work out a plan for your own high availability implementation.